People of Baghdad, the army has moved, the monarchy has ended, the republic is declared. It is a few minutes past 8 in the morning, July the 14th, 1958. That voice is coming from a radio station in Baghdad, and by the time you hear it, almost everything it describes has already happened. We will come back to this morning, but to understand why it took 5 hours to end a kingdom, you have to understand why it took 700 years to arrive. In part 1, we watched this city invent the world, writing, law, the wheel, the map of heaven. This is what the world did to it in return. February 1258. The Mongol army of Hulagu Khan takes Baghdad, and with it the Abbasid Caliphate that had ruled for 5 centuries. The chroniclers wrote that the Tigris ran black with the ink of the House of Wisdom's books, and red beside it. Chroniclers exaggerate. That is their job. What is documented is simpler and worse. The city that had been the largest and most literate place on earth stopped being either in a single winter. And here is the part the epics leave out. Baghdad did not die. Cities almost never do. People came back. Markets reopened over the ash. The city survived. It just stopped mattering. And for a place that had been the center of the world, that is its own kind of death. In 1401, it burned again, under Timur. The figures the chroniclers give for that sack are contested, and we will not repeat them as fact. What matters for our story is the pattern. Twice in 150 years, Baghdad learned that its role in the New World was to be taken. For the next 4 centuries, Baghdad's story is written in other empires' capitals. Suleiman the Magnificent takes it for the Ottomans in 1534. The Safavids take it back in 1623. Murad IV retakes it in 1638. And after that, the wars mostly stop, because the prize has stopped being worth the war. The city that ruled the world becomes 3 provincial postal districts of somebody else's empire: Mosul, Baghdad, Basra. Remember those 3 names. In 60 years of our runtime, a man at a conference table is going to staple them together and call it a country. The centuries pass here at the speed the city felt them, which is to say, barely at all. Caravans, floods, plague years, a telegraph line, eventually, a steamship on the Tigris, eventually. History happening elsewhere. North of Baghdad, near Kirkuk, there is a patch of ground where fire has come out of the earth for as long as anyone has written anything down. Herodotus heard about it, or something like it. Local tradition, and we mark this on screen as tradition, not record, says it is the fiery furnace of the Book of Daniel. Shepherds warmed themselves at it through every empire in this film. It was the one thing in the province, older than the story we are telling. And for 700 years, it was worth nothing. Then the world invented the engine. The British arrive in the First World War and take Baghdad in 1917. The proclamation their general posts is a documented text, and it contains one of the most quietly load-bearing sentences of the 20th century. Our armies do not come into your cities and lands as conquerors, but as liberators. Behind the sentence stood an empire that ran on oil, looking at a province that smelled of it. In March 1921, in a Cairo hotel, a few dozen British officials spend 10 days deciding what the former Ottoman provinces will become. Mosul, Baghdad, Basra, stapled together, as promised, into a new kingdom called Iraq, an old name for the old land. They import a king, Faisal, son of the Sharif of Mecca, a man who had never governed here. He is crowned in Baghdad in August 1921, and because the new country does not yet have an anthem, the band plays the British one. The Kingdom of Iraq begins its life standing at attention for God Save the King. Hold that image. Everything that happens at the end of this film is already inside it. 6 years later, drillers hit the reservoir under the eternal fire. Baba Gurgur No. 1 comes in so hard that oil rains over the countryside for days before they cap it. The province that spent 7 centuries as a footnote becomes overnight one of the most valuable places on Earth, owned, drilled, and piped by a consortium in which the country itself holds not one share. In 1932, Iraq is admitted to the League of Nations as an independent state. Independence, with an asterisk the size of an oil field. King Faisal, the imported king, who had, against every expectation, become something like the country's father, dies in 1933, 1 year into that independence. His son Ghazi dies in 1939 in a car crash the official record calls an accident, and much of Baghdad never did. We flag that on screen as contested, and leave it exactly there. Which makes the next king a boy, Faisal II, 3 years old, July the 14th, 1958. The boy king is 23 now. He is engaged to be married. The wedding is weeks away. On this morning, 2 army brigades that were ordered to march east toward Jordan decide instead to turn toward their own capital. Before dawn, columns enter Baghdad. There is no resistance to speak of. That is a documented fact, and it is the whole story in miniature. Nobody fights for the kingdom, because the kingdom belongs to a conference table in Cairo, 37 years upstream. The radio station is taken first. In 1258, the prize was the House of Wisdom. In 1958, it is a transmitter. The proclamation goes out, the voice you heard in the dark at the top of this film. The film catches up to its own first frame. At the Rehab Palace, the royal family, the young king, the regent, members of the household, are killed. It happens entirely off our screen, in the past tense, and the question of who gave the order is a genuinely open historical question that we name as such and do not pretend to answer. The Prime Minister, Nouri al-Said, the kingdom's Iron Man for 3 decades, escapes into the city. He is found the next day. He does not survive it. That is the last sentence this film spends there. By early morning, it is over. A monarchy assembled in 10 days at a Cairo hotel is disassembled in 5 hours in Baghdad. The Republic is declared by radio. The medium the old empire had used to promise it came as a liberator. 700 years, and then 5 hours. Every empire in this film believed it owned this land. The Khans, the Sultans, the Shahs, the Crown, the Consortium. The land kept exactly one possession of its own the entire time. A fire in the ground near Kirkuk that was burning before Baghdad existed. Burning the morning the Mongols came, burning the morning the British came, and burning still on the morning of July the 14th, 1958. The only witness present for all of it, and the only one that never belonged to anyone. In part 1, we told you this land invented history. It turns out it also invented the hardest lesson in it, that the center of the world is wherever the world decides it is, and the world can change its mind.